Hi again, everyone, and welcome to another very special episode of Once Upon a Turnbuckle. And I get to welcome back for this one of my favorite guests of yesteryear. So way back when I first really started doing the show. Um, this is someone that I had such a blast talking to. Then I got to see her in action, and it's been about 4 years. So apologies for that. But under a new name for those of you who know or may not know, formerly, or the artist formerly known as Echo Reed, Rhiannon Jade. Welcome back.
No, thank you for having me back. It has been a long
That's
time.
it has. It has. I would apologize. I probably should do, but I had a bit of an excuse. I
It's all
wasn't
right.
doing
No
anything for
apologies
for a
needed.
bit, but it does mean a bit like when I spoke to Jordan and James Ellis and all that again. I've left a bit of a void so that we can actually have a lot to talk about.
Got a
And
lot of catching up to do.
yeah, and there has been quite a lot going on in your world. So it'll be good to sort of delve into some of it. Um, Firstly, just in general, the last sort of 3 or 4 years, what's been going on? Bit of a summary.
Summary, busier, better,
Cool.
tireder. That's
They all
that.
tend
That's
to
that
follow.
count.
They all tend to follow the same pattern, I think,
Yeah,
especially
this
when they're
was
busier.
a.
But it's a good busy from what I've been there, from
It
what
is
I've
a
been
good
seeing.
busy.
That's good. That's good. So, I mean, yeah, just to, I don't even know really where to start, to be fair. I mean, there's a few places I do definitely want to go. Like I said before
Mhm.
we came on, there's a few points that I really do want to delve into a bit more. It's been great following your career since we last spoke. Um, so I mean, if you remember back when we spoke, you were wrestling down here. I just been just before I saw you perform for Reach, in Tavistock. So kind of where did it go from there? Sort of highlights points. When from when you were last on the show, when was the next sort of big thing to pivot?
Last time you said Tavistock. Was that
Yeah,
me versus LA Taylor?
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't think I've had many singles with LA Taylor since that point. I think we only
Oh,
had like
wow.
one or two. We've been in a bunch of four ways and triple threats.
Cool.
But we haven't actually really had like one or two singles since then, and that was,
No.
like you said, like nearly 4 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
it's definitely round about then. Yeah.
quite a big jump.
Mm,
I think that was the last time I wrestled in Tavistock as well, and
okay.
that used to be like a 10-minute drive from my old like childhood home. So that's crazy. I don't get down that end very often anymore, which
Oh,
is
so
that's something new.
you've up sticks and moved. I mean, that's the first big thing, I
Yeah,
suppose. Is
first thing, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, where did you go? What did you do? What drew you up further?
So I was in Plymouth for a little bit before we went to America the first time, and then after that. I moved to Wales. I went into like a little town in the valleys just outside Cardiff, and I lived there for about a year, and I
Nice.
loved it.
Mm,
Loved Wales. It was just a fun vibe, and
yeah.
wrestling, I was busier because
I was
it's
going to
much
say
more easier to get places.
there's a lot happening in Wales. Even
Yeah,
back when I was doing the show back then, I mean, it was very evident that there was a lot going on. So
they got a good scene down there. They got a bunch of really good talents.
mm, yeah. So
But yeah, just been everywhere.
it's been everywhere. Okay,
Been everywhere.
I'll once we got that bit out of it, let's go to the more obvious thing. Obviously,
Mhm.
yes, you touched on you went out to America. You were part of the group that went out to train with Tom Prichard, which
Yes.
in itself is a talking point.
Coolest person in my contacts today.
Really well.
Still the coolest man on my contact list. Phone
And
number
that's
and everything. Will I
and
ever
that's
call him? No. But do
but
I
he's
have his
there.
number? Yes.
But he's there. That's a
He is
number that a
there.
lot of people would want, and you've got it. So,
Yeah, I
that's very
do.
cool.
He is an absolutely lovely man. I love that man to pieces.
So
But
go
yeah,
on.
he's so cool.
Your take then, that first time that you went out there. Um, Feelings, memories, expectations. Do you remember what it was like?
I remember the first time we all got there, I think we were all a little bit starstruck because it's like to someone that's trained like all of our favorite wrestlers, and he's some especially like the boys you went out with, like Toby and Jordan, their whole thing is like 80s wrestling. Like they love Jim
Yeah.
Cornette, they love the Midnight Express, they love the Heavenly Bodies. So it's like for them, they
Mm.
were way more soft than me and Ruby were. But it's like we were still like, oh my God, this is sick. And like for him to just be really funny from the get-go, like
That's cool.
it was like very comfortable meeting him.
Okay.
Like no one felt awkward. We
That's
had
good.
like a good bunch of people as well. I think there was like 10 of us in our class.
Hmm.
But I think it was us, a guy from France, and a guy from Puerto Rico that all
Right.
had wrestling experience before. So there's like another 4 or 5 people that had never trained anything. So they were completely beginners. I was
Wow.
like, what a better place to learn than like
Quite. Yeah.
with
Were they
Dr.
from
Tom.
America by any chance? Were they,
Pardon?
were they in America already by any chance?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They all flew themselves out, and like a bunch of the guys that were brand new lived in like local areas. I think two of them
Uh,
lived in Tennessee, and then someone came from New York, and one of them came from North Carolina. So it's
goodness.
like a good bunch of people. But yeah, it was like such a. At first, we were all kind of like didn't know what to think, but like the
Mm,
training itself was so good. But we were all so gassed on the first day, like doing like the 5-5-5, which is like bit of like a blow up drill sort of thing, but it's
okay.
like you just keep doing it until it's not that hard anymore, basically.
Okay.
Which is needed in wrestling because like you gotta have a good like tank, you gotta be able to go.
Yeah.
But like doing that and like him just being like positive was
Mm,
so lush. It was really nice. And from the get go, he did like he would always tell like a stupid joke.
right.
Well, people would think they're stupid, but we like the Brits, we were branded as the Brits,
Well, I was
us
going to say we're
four.
king of stupid jokes. I mean,
Yeah, we were just the group. We were the
yeah.
Brits, and literally, like, we were the only ones that would find his jokes funny because I don't know. I guess it's just our humor. I
I
guess
think
I
that, yeah.
don't. It became like a running thing for Ruby to give him a joke back because I think he realized that only we were interested in his jokes, so he stopped telling him a little bit throughout that 12 weeks, and then Ruby became it was like her mission to tell him a silly one on each training day
That is
because
so
like
cool.
his training was so hard, but like in a good way. Like it was stuff we like didn't get to do too often here in the UK,
Okay.
especially on a Wednesday, because the Wednesday was like promo class. That
Mm,
doesn't happen anywhere from my experience in the UK. I think
okay.
British people in like themselves are naturally just quite like introverted and like they don't really talk much.
Yeah.
So like promos are a lot harder, I find, especially because like when you hear promos, they're normally someone that's from America or they
Yeah.
have a bit of a nicer accent, I think, than some of us here. Like, unless you've got like a funny one,
I know
it's
what you
kind of
mean.
like hard to like be serious. Like
Yeah.
Scouser, they sound like they're gonna beat you up. You know what I mean?
That's true. Actually, you don't see, yeah, you don't see or hear many from up there. I mean, when I listen to guys like Nick Aldis, for example, I don't watch, still don't watch much of the current stuff, but Nick Aldis, in amongst everyone else, say on SmackDown brand, he stands out.
Stands
And
out.
what's his name? Wade Barrett. I've forgotten his appointment. Stu Bennett.
Yeah, it's very like off-putting, I guess, when you're
Yeah.
surrounded by like a bunch of Americans. You never really notice how different you sound
No.
until
And
that point. So
already
it's like
you've kind of on a.
weird.
Do you feel like you're on a bit of a back foot with that? Do you think?
I was terrible at them. Like there would be like times where like he would just give you a random word you had to just incorporate, and it would be something stupid, and it'd be
Right.
like, "Gotta get the word gravel in." It's like, how the hell am I gonna get the word gravel in a promo? Like, I don't know what to say. And like Toby and Jordan were great at it. They're natural like talkers. To be fair, they
Mm,
have a lot of confidence and like they don't mind. They look silly. I
yeah.
think myself, I hated it because I never know what to say. And then, like certain words, if it has like an R in it, it gets really like stubborn. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate it.
But
So
that's
I would be
that's
like, oh no, and
that's
I
quite
found myself
endearing
sounding
though.
weird.
They come on, the Americans love the British accent. They must have
Oh
gone.
yeah. Well, they
They
all
must
thought
have
we were
love it.
Australian at first. We were
Oh, they
like,
all do. Yeah, I've
they
heard that.
always get it mixed up, and we were like, no, we're not from Australia. We're the Brits, if you have to call us that. One guy called us the Englanders, and we were like,
England, that's a new
sure,
one. Okay. Yeah,
sure,
why
whatever
not?
you say,
I've not seen a
that
tag team
works
called
enough.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, I
Wow.
think I think the promo thing like really helped a lot of us out. Not that I get asked to do them very often here
Mm,
anyway, but like in America, you're expected if you're on a show, they want you to do a promo for every show you want.
yeah.
So it's like an expected thing of them, which is needed. I think the UK should do it more because
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
what like TNA and like WWE they want people that can talk. So it's like
Mm,
the quicker you are at being comfortable doing that, the
mm,
more like an advantage you have, which is why like it's hard to get signed, I think, as a British wrestler because you're not used to talking. So you've got to
okay.
learn this whole other side
Mm,
and then do it. So whereas like
yeah.
Americans, like they're so good at just being so extroverted and chatty. Like they don't really have a lot of shame, like in like the best way possible. Like
No,
they can talk for days. Like that's a good thing.
I think
So
being
I
in the
think like they
area.
naturally have an advantage.
the area that you were, was it in Tennessee you were under there, was
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
very southern.
It's renowned for great talkers. If you think back
Hmm.
to the likes of, you got I'm not going to name names, but that's where, that kind of territory where the NWA was, USWA and all that.
Hmm.
They are renowned for producing some of the best talkers. There's
Literally,
something
yeah.
about that southern kind of nature and
I believe it as well because like even just like day-to-day life when we were over there, people would just come up and talk to you. Like they wouldn't even
wow,
know we were British or anything. They just come and be, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And like they'll
wow.
just stop in like, the middle of their day to talk to people, and it's like, "Oh, I'm good. How are you?" Because obviously, like here, you say, "Oh, you're right." You never actually answer it. You just go, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're
Okay.
right."
Oh,
They
you're
wait for you to answer
cynical.
it. They want to know if you're all right or not. It's just like,
That's
"Oh,
cool.
I'm
Yeah,
good.
that's
Are you okay?"
and
I don't
that's
know.
it. It's what makes us cynical over
No one
here.
just
Like we
means
don't
hello
talk to
to me.
strangers.
I
'Cause-
don't know if I'm actually meant to answer this or not. And it's like I think we naturally like one thing we learnt as well is we say sorry a lot. Oh, sorry, like
yeah.
excuse me, whatever. They go, no, you're good. And it's like, okay, I don't know.
Don't know how to react to that.
Naturally apologetic. Sorry,
We are, aren't we? And yeah, again,
we're
we're known
all
for that.
awkward in our own
Yeah,
little way.
I think, and putting yourself in a strange land, as it were, it probably brings that out and makes you more aware of that.
It
Um,
was quite nice, especially like if because we were in like a group, it was so much nicer as well. Like no one was alone, so
hmm,
it was nice that the four of us went together.
yeah.
So we were all kind of in the same boat, sort of thing.
What was life like around the wrestling then? I guess most of your time probably was spent doing something wrestling related. What was the rest of it?
So like to be fair, that first trip we all got a little bit chubby because our thing was we were going to try all like the American like places we don't have in the UK. So we
Cool.
were trying like Wendy's, like Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen was my favorite. Um, and then like Cracker Barrel, like proper like Southern places. Like we tried so much food that we got a little bit chubby, but it was worth it because it was so good that first time. And then everyone we met in wrestling as well was like super sweet. Like we did one show at the start, like after like the first like 3 weeks I think of training.
Yeah.
Dr. Tom put us forward for it's called JCP. It's like one of the NWA territories now.
Yes.
But at the
Yep.
time I think it wasn't quite a territory. I think they were in the works of making it one.
Mm.
And he said, I've got these British guys, why don't you put them in like a match and see if you like them or whatever. And we literally did like a mixed tag and they
Okay.
do pre-shows everywhere in America. We didn't know that
Yeah.
other thing, but we were on the pre-show, which is fine. You still get paid. It's great.
Yeah. There you
It's just
go.
so weird that you have a pre-show. We're just not used to that. It's not a common thing in the UK. But we did that, and literally just that one match, people like backstage watched us because they were like, "Oh, let's see if these Brits are okay." And we literally just got bookings off that one match that Dr. Tom
Wow.
put us forward for, and it's very different in a sense for like UK wrestling here because, like, in the UK, it's not bad. It's like you normally put your friends forward because you want to wrestle your
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, over there, they don't know you, but they're like, oh, you're good. Do you want to wrestle next weekend?
Wow.
And they'll kind of be like, oh, I know my friend wrestles, has a show in, like, Kentucky. Do you want to be on this show? And they'll just
Wow.
put you forward anywhere. They don't care if they lose their spot on a card or whatever. They just go, yeah, do you
Yeah.
want to come with me? Do you want to be on this show? And we were like, oh, yeah, okay. So strange, but yes.
Does that give you then a sense of a different sense of confidence, knowing that you've not been booked because your friend wants to work with you? It's your
It was
talent,
nice, to be
obviously.
fair. Like, it was nice that, like, they saw all four of us and were like, yeah, these guys are good.
Hmm.
And it was, like, a nice in a sense where, like, we all got to wrestle different people for once. Like,
Yeah.
I love wrestling Ruby, and I always will, because she's my fight forever. But we are getting a little bit bored of doing the same sort of thing, you
You're
know?
right.
So it was nice in that sense where, like, we got to tag together or we got to wrestle new girls. Because I
Yeah.
think at the time when we were both based in, like, that Plymouth area, it was hard to get bookings where it wasn't against each other because you're already
Mm.
traveling up together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think people thought it would be like rude if they booked one or the other, whereas we were like, no, it's okay. You can
Yeah.
pick one or the other. We're not going to be like, oh, fuck you. You know what I mean? So I swore.
No, don't worry about it.
Oh, that's fine, sweet. I won't do it too much, I hope. But I think people thought that we'd be like bitter, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
if one or the other got it, but
Yeah.
she's like one of my closest friends. Like I'm never gonna be upset if she gets like an opportunity because she
No.
works her ass off, you know?
Yeah.
And vice versa. Like I'm just happy to see her succeed and she's the same way with me. So it's like if we get bookings together, cool, we're happy to do it.
Mm.
But if one or the other gets the opportunity, it's still very cool. Like I'm very happy.
There you go. And that's good when you got that kind of brotherhood, sisterhood, not genderizing it at all, but that kind of thing. You know you've got that support network. I suppose that was quite important to have that when you were out there. You know,
100%.
I suppose if you were out there on your own, for example, you know, if you would have found yourself out there on your own, um, how different would that have been?
Oh, well, the first time we stayed in like this place. We had to share it with like, that French dude that was with us
Mm.
at training, and none of us liked him. He was the worst person to live with. So I think if we weren't together, I think I would have snapped at him a lot because he was so obnoxious and he was the worst person to live with. So not only did we have to
Uh,
see him every day at training, we had to go home and just see his face, and he was just annoying everyone.
oh no.
So it's like I think that brought us together closer as well, like our bonded hatred for this guy.
I
Oh,
love it. And I did love, you know, because I even though I stepped back from the show for a couple of years and I wasn't really keeping up a lot with wrestling, I did have a few of you, yourself and Jordan. I did keep up with what you were doing, and when I saw that you two posted, firstly, the first time that you were going out there, I was like, nah, can't be the, you know, Jacobs Pritchard. No, the one that I've heard about. It can't be that one, surely. And I was stoked for you guys. Yeah, that
he's
was
the
such a
coolest man.
yeah, that was great. Did you was I know, you know, Glenn Jacobs probably doesn't hang around the training camp all that much. Did was he around at all when you were there?
We did meet him once. He came in for one of the days and he like just basically did like a 2 hour Q&A of us. We just had
Oh
so many
wow.
questions for him. And to be fair, he answered all of them. Like he was really nice. Way taller in person like than you think. Like obviously they
Okay.
say he's like a 7 foot tall monster, but you
You
think
don't
they've
realize how tall
exaggerated
that
it.
is. Oh,
But
okay.
you would think they exaggerated
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, he is a tall man.
Wow.
Like he's very tall. But then again, I'm like 5 foot 4, so everyone's tall to me. But like it was cool. He was very polite, very nice, but obviously he's such a busy man. Like he was
Yeah,
at the time he was mayor of Knox County. I
yeah.
think he was running for governor the second time.
Wow.
So it's like we didn't see him an awful lot, but he was always like sharing things for like the
That's good.
school, and like he's always like talking to Dr. Tom about everyone. So it
Yeah,
is he's involved.
that's good.
I don't know how
That's
involved
good.
he is now, but at the time he was still involved, and like we did meet him at least, so that was
Sometimes
cool. So
you
you
do
met
wonder sometimes
Kane.
these guys just kind of lend their names to it and you know let someone else
Yeah,
run the show. So that's good. And I suppose what better springboard could you have had at that point in your career to have to be able to just absorb anything you can from the guys who have been there at the top. I mean, Dr.
literally,
Tom,
yes.
he's been a WWF Tag Team Champion. Maybe not the this stint in his career he wants to be remembered for, but
He's
you
like
know,
this to
is
that
he?
one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
like
bet he
cool
would be.
moment, but we'll be like,
It's
oh
a shame.
no.
It's a real shame that because he's such an iconic tag team wrestler to
Hmm.
have been the time he had the belt. No disrespect to Chris Candido and that, but you
It was a
know,
great tag partner. It's just not the greatest gimmick
not the
that
greatest
neither of them
gimmick.
really enjoyed.
I don't think he needed one. He was one of those
No,
that could have just been himself,
he
you know.
had like I can't think. He always says it's the worst time of his life because he got rid of his curls,
Yeah,
bleached
that
his
was it.
hair. You
Yeah.
can't get rid of the curly mullet, man.
No.
Because he would
I
always do there in promos like he's zhuzhing it up,
that's
he's
it.
like boom. He looked good, bless him. He was
Yeah.
a good looking man. And
I
he had the curls. Everyone loves the curls.
I remember the day that he debuted as Zip and he came because I think it was in a match between Skip and Rad Radford and he cost Rad Radford the match. And I didn't it took me a couple of weeks to realise who the hell this guy was. And then I think I didn't twig it on my own. I would never put two and two together. It must have been in Power Slam magazine or something. I was like, no, why? But there we go. Bless him. You know, he was a worker. He'd do, you
He's a
know,
man.
what is asked of him. So,
You're not allowed to put him over though. He won't watch this because if it says JBWA, be like, she's gonna talk about me. She's gonna say nice things. Won't watch it.
oh, right, okay. Now there's a secret there. Then I
Right.
won't put
No
any of
shit,
that.
Magic.
I won't put any of that in the write up, so that
Literally.
maybe he might start. Yeah,
He
right.
he honestly hates being put over, but it's like you
Really?
can't help it, man. You're literally the legend. You're the only one that doesn't see it, is you.
Yeah, he's
So
put so.
cool.
I mean, looking at the guys that he has, again, something very cool to say. You've joined that list of wrestlers that've been trained by him.
Yeah.
When you look at, I mean, pretty sure The Rock was trained by him, and Edge and Val Venus. I
Like the
remember there was
Hardy Boys and all
yeah,
that
that
lot.
whole class that came through at that
Mhm.
same time. You know, was mainly because of him. I remember seeing pictures
It's
of
the
him.
best.
I think there were pictures in WWF magazine of him training, and it was that class with Edge and Val Venus because there was a picture of them together as well. I didn't even know he was a trainer at that point, so that was way, way back.
Yeah,
So much
man.
experience. So you go out there that first time. Coming back to your story, you go out there that first time. You absorb all of that, and then you come back over here. So what do you do with all that then? Do you find that work tends to come your way a lot more because you have been able to grow yourself out there, or was it still kind of grafting to get yourself known over here still?
The first time coming back, I think it was a bit more of a graft still, just because we came back and we were still based in Plymouth for like another. We got back end of September. We didn't move to Wales until that December, so that was like 2.5 months of like
Yeah.
on and off bookings. Like it wasn't busy every weekend. It was
Mm,
like maybe every other weekend sort of thing. Just because we live so far away and like it just means
yeah.
expenses are quite expensive. Like
Yeah.
driving to and from places like because there was like one place we did that was like 4 hours away.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was like we're all happy to drive. Like, well,
Yeah.
I don't drive. I'm happy to sit in the car for 4 hours, but like it's just expensive for a promoter. So I
Yeah.
do understand it on like the promoter side. Like it does cost a lot,
Yeah.
but it's like it was harder then, but it's not too bad. Like we still had good bookings. Like I wrestled some nice people when I came back, and yeah, I got wrestled Sky Smithson when I got back. Like my first match back, I filled in last minute, and I wrestled Sky Smithson. I was very happy. I was like, thank God, my first match back in the UK is a good one. I would have
Yeah,
been so upset.
and that's the thing. You almost want to keep that momentum going because I
Yeah,
guess
it
you
would have been
came back
very
with
humbling if it
yeah,
was.
yeah. So I've got to come to again. I don't know if this is the right time in the timeline, but one of the big things that viewers, if they've seen your last show on here, is the name change.
I've
So
had a lot of those.
yeah, I'm sure you have. It's a bit. You don't see it very. I haven't. You don't see it a lot these days.
Yeah,
I've seen a few guys who've got operate under a few different names, but you went under this kind of transitions. Tell us about the reasoning behind that and kind of what that meant for you, because I would imagine that kind of identity change is quite a spiritual thing in terms of what your character, I suppose, and
yeah.
your persona. So yeah, just sort of fill us in on the reasoning behind that.
So obviously I started out as Echo Reed. That was a name I picked when I was like 17. So it was like young Ree thought that was sick. And like it is a cool name. But
Mm,
then like as it went on, I realized that like everyone had the last name of Reed. So it was
okay.
quite like a popular thing. Like it's not a bad thing. I think
Mm,
I just kind of got thrown into the mix, and because I wasn't like centrally based or anything, I was like the other one. So
right.
that didn't like help in that sense. And then when I left my first training school, I was like, well, it's kind of associated with them, so I'm gonna take the last name away.
Yeah.
And I just went by just Echo for a while, but then I'm like, I'm not Cher. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have just one name.
No.
So I like I'm not a legend like Cher or like Paige or like like Edge. Like I'm not a one name person. I feel like I
Mm,
needed a last name, but I couldn't think of anything good for quite a while. So
mm,
I literally was just Echo until I went to America the second time when
mm.
I finally had a last name. And then I had to change it all after that anyway. So it was like I went from Echo and then to Echo Ridge, which
Okay.
I fully stole from a book. There was that I got the name
Okay.
anyway from this book from a
Right.
town called Echo Ridge, and I thought, you know what, I'm just
Ah.
gonna steal it fully.
Just hope no one notices.
No one's read this book. It's fine. It's not like a big popular sensation. So it's like unless someone reads it and they're like, oh, wait a minute.
Just coincidence. Just
I read
coincidence.
it when I was like 16, so I don't think I was reading it now. But then yeah, big jump
Okay.
to just my actual name, Rhiannon Jade.
Cool. Did that give you a new sense of identity in the ring? Is there something that you did differently, or do you just kind of still the same you that you were?
I think like when you have like an over the top sort of like wrestling name, you try and be over the top, that makes sense. So
Mm,
it's
yeah.
like I was trying to be some extravagant thing and I'm not. Like I'm a chatter and I waffle on a lot. But it's like I'm not some person that thinks they're hard, and I'm not some person that's
Mm,
like really like outgoing or anything like that. So it's like I think I was trying so hard to be those things
mm,
because my name was Echo. It's like, well, that's cool, so I have to be cool.
yeah.
So it's like I was trying so hard to do that. That's like, well, it's not really me. And like in like a fan point of view, everyone I liked watching growing up, they seemed like really genuine and they kind of seemed like they
Mm,
were just having fun all the time
yeah.
because they were basically just being themselves, just amplified. So I think for me, like just to change it and just to my actual name, I felt like that felt more comfortable for me. So I
Mhm.
think it translated better, like wrestling wise, just because I wasn't trying to be over the top in that sort of
Mm.
sense. I was just kind of, if I'm goofing around, it's because I'm just basically being me. Like people don't know
Yeah.
me, I do take the piss quite a lot. So like, especially if I was like the good guy in a match, I would, to be honest, I'd take the piss more when I'm good than I am when I'm bad. To be the way around, to be honest. But
Yeah.
that's just me, I think. I think in my head that's just what I would do. And if people would probably like it more because I'm just kind of
Yeah.
being myself and have a bit more of a laugh.
Yeah. That's
But
good.
that's pretty much all it is. It's just
That's
more
cool.
genuine to me, I think.
And I can't think who it was. I've seen someone in the big two recently say exactly the same thing. Like they only felt like they grew into their persona when they were allowed to be themselves. And probably why you see a lot of them now, they don't go by really kind of bombastic names as much as they probably used to. Um, do you? Here's a question then for you: if you are just being yourself, do you prefer being a heel or a face? Because you've done a bit of both, I can
Yeah,
see.
I think I wrestle better as a heel.
Hmm.
Don't know why. I just think I do.
Yeah.
I think because like I there's a in my head there's a lot less pressure because I think it's easier to be hated than it is to be liked.
Yeah. If you
So I
got
think it takes the
it's harder
pressure off a
work
little bit.
to win a crowd over rather than
Yeah.
just kind of get them. Yeah, I get that. I get
And I
that.
think for myself as well, like the entrance part,
Hmm.
I hated the entrance part because I was always a face. So I
Yeah.
think in my head I was like, make sure that they like you.
Hmm.
So I think I was always in my head a lot more with that. Whereas now I kind of just come out and I think I go woo. I don't even know what I do when I'm face. It's not very often. I think
But
I
you
just
don't.
think, oh shit, I have to be good today.
Yeah,
Can't
you
yell
don't.
at anyone. Ah, woo!
You obviously you're there to acknowledge the fans and
Natural
everything, but
instinct is
you
just to make
don't
a weird sound.
you don't need to like go and smile at everyone and slap hands and
Yeah,
everything.
I'm
And
like, I think
I
for
get
me
that.
as well, like the kind of like face I am. I'm not some uber teary kind of like, come on,
No,
let's go. I
no,
think I'm more like, I don't really need sympathy or like, I don't need you to love me, you know?
no.
I just think
Yeah,
I want you to think I'm cool, but like without trying, like I'm
yeah.
just gonna do what I do. And if you like it, great. If you don't, that's okay.
And I think
Like
there's
that kind
more
of
of that.
thing.
There's definitely more of that for a long time. I think Steve Austin was probably the first one I
Yeah,
remember riding that line. He was like he's trying to be bad, but people were loving him for it. And I think they just got fed up with the real kind of white meat baby faces, and then
yeah,
obviously it just became cool. And um, I've quite often thought, when I was growing up, I was a typical, I backed all the faces. I hated the heels, which was great, which meant they were doing their job. But the older I've got, I've really come to appreciate the psychology and the talent it takes to be a heel, and one that really makes the fans want to see you lose, and
yeah.
they really feel that hatred for you. Yeah, you may not want them to say that about you on the street, but when you're there where it matters, and they're
100%. But
yeah,
yeah, I think
that's
overall
cool.
I just prefer being a heel. I don't know why.
That's
I
cool.
think it's just more fun for me to
Yeah,
just yell at
especially
kids and tell off dads, I guess. I don't know.
especially if we're not expecting it. Because again, when I first saw any hint that you were a heel, I thought that's to me that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I don't think
You
you
know,
ever saw me as a heel and like at that first point I was
no,
always a face. But then again I was like 18, 19. I was very
yeah, yeah,
small. I think I looked very young. Like I
yeah,
still look young now. But I think I looked very young at that point. So it was
yeah.
like it was hard to boo someone that looks like they're like 14, you know?
Unless they're
Like what are
really,
you gonna
really
do realistically? You're not really gonna hurt anyone. So it's more
no,
like a sympathy, like, oh, she's getting her ass handed to her
yeah.
there. Like, oh, come on, girl.
Unless you were really giving them shit, which you really could have, lent on the
Well, there wasn't a lot
sport
of
brat
body to put
attitude,
into
but
anything back then. I was very, very small.
yeah,
5 foot
but
nothing.
there is one thing that I came armed with that I need to talk to you about, and I know that you've probably spoken about this to death. So again, I do apologize, but I thought it was the coolest thing I'd seen is when I saw that you were having a match, or you've had a match for TNA while you were out in America for the second time. Did it happen during the second trip, or was this the first
Second
one?
trip,
It
yeah.
was the second one. Uh, Go on then. So, how did that come about? Thoughts, feelings, memories of just kind of later. What was it like?
As first of all, coolest day of my life, still to this day. But it kind of happened like just all kind of aligned, if that makes sense. So it
Mm-hmm.
was in between like the 12-week classes Dr. Tom does, um, he has like a week off where he just has a week to himself. He's
Right.
just done 12 weeks of coaching, has a week to
Mm-hmm.
himself to relax. And in that week, they were doing the tapings anyway, but they were meant to be in North Carolina.
Okay.
But obviously, like the hurricanes hit, so they moved
Uh,
venues like very last minute and came to Nashville, and that was like 2 hours away from where we were staying in Knoxville.
mhm.
So we got a message from our friend that trained with us anyway called Wayne Moxley. And he was like, guys, I'm going to these tapings. I need more helpers. Do you want to come? You get watch the show for free. You just help with things and that's it. And I was like, yes, I want to do that. I want to watch the Hardys for free. 100% yes. Like, I was a TNA fan anyway. Like, I grew up watching that. So I was like,
Yeah.
I want to watch TNA. Yes, please. And my mum used to go without me. So with my brothers. So I used to be very upset. I've never watched TNA live until then.
Ah,
So
wow.
like,
Okay.
so I was very, very hyped to go, and so were the boys. So was Ruby. We were hyped, and we get there. We set everything up. We meet people like the crew that were there on the
Mhm.
first day, and the next day was taping day one, and we were literally just there helping. And I think we did security, so we were
Wow.
like
Okay.
scanning everyone. I was like, "This is fun." Just have one person with a gun. I was like, "You need to put that in your car. Thank you." So you
No
cannot take
worries.
this in the building. Sorry.
My
So that
God.
was fun.
That's
Um,
different. Yeah.
it was so cool though. Like as soon as we did that, we literally got to go and watch the show. It was sick. Um, and then day two came around, and they knew we were going to be there, and they were like, "We have a spot for a women's wrestler. Do you want to like send us your matches to me and Ruby?" And I just got lucky that they watched mine first. They watched like
Okay.
5 minutes and went, "Yeah, perfect, that'll do." So it's
Wow.
nothing against Ruby. She's fantastic, 100%. It's just I got lucky they watched mine first.
Yeah. Wow.
And like I remember they were like, "Go get your gear and then go find Gail." And I was like, "Go find Gail?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, that's normal." So I like get my gear and I'm like walking through like, "Oh my god, I've grown up watching this one."
Was it come like Gail Kim here?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
like
Right.
I had to go find Gail. I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
So I was like secretly marking out because I was like, "Don't be weird, not go first impression." So secretly I'm like, "Oh my god, this is so fucking cool." But I was like, "We're gonna keep it cool. We're gonna keep it calm, collected a little bit."
Good luck.
But yeah, I literally was like, "Oh hi, I'm Marie." That was it. And then she was like, "I'm your producer." She was really sweet, to be fair. And
Mm,
then she introduced me to Tasha, who was gonna wrestle because I hadn't met her yet.
mhm.
And yeah, she just basically said like, "You're having a normal match." I thought I was gonna have like a squash match because I was like, "Oh, I assume it's
Okay.
gonna be a quick thing."
Yeah.
No, they were like, "Yeah, no, normal match." I was like,
Yeah.
"Sick." I thought I was gonna get my ass handed to me in like 2 minutes. This is
Yeah.
very fucking cool. And then it was Tommy Dreamer that was like, "By the way, you have to use your real name today, if that's okay." I was like, "Can I use my middle name and not my last name? Because I don't want people finding me."
Oh, fair dues. No.
Like,
Yeah. Good job.
fans are weird. Like,
Yeah.
well, not all fans, some fans are lovely, but there are some weirdos.
You got to protect yourself.
So
Yeah.
I was like, please don't use my government last name because I can't be signing autographs and just give my actual signature, you know?
No. Oh no,
Like,
God. Yeah. I didn't even think of
like
that.
I don't need this. So I was like, we'll use my middle name because it sounds better anyway. Rhiannon
Yeah.
Jade's my actual name.
Yeah.
Crazy. Thanks, mum.
Yeah.
Um, for giving me a
As if
normal
she.
name.
As if she knew.
If she knew.
Mm.
Thanks. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, he was lovely. And then yeah, I literally sorted everything out, got changed, got ready. I shared a locker room with Maggie Lee, who just got signed, and she was really sweet. We had our
Okay.
first like day together, so that was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, she wrestled Rosemary, and I had Tasha Steele, so we were both like excited together to like
Yeah.
finally have like a TNA debut. Like it was sick. And yeah, I literally did the match, went well. Had to be a good guy. I hate being face.
The match was good as well.
It was good. I was
Not
really
that I wasn't
happy.
expecting it to be, but you're right. I think there almost could have been an expectation there that it was going to go
Yeah.
one way, but no, you gave it some in that one. It's a good showing.
Oh, thank you.
You wouldn't have guessed it was your first, televised
No.
match that big at all.
I think I had things in my head that I'd been taught from people before, like that have done TV.
Mm,
So I kind of like stored things like that. And like one thing I did like spoiler a lot, and people probably won't like me saying this. But one thing I didn't do was like cover up for any kicks and stuff. I was like, this is on TV. I ain't
Yeah,
doing no pussy shit
yeah,
for
yeah,
TV. So
yeah.
like every kick he gave me, I was
Take
like,
it
I
off.
will not put my hand up today. And now, to be fair, it's worked well because I don't do it anymore anyway. So
Oh,
it's
that's
quite
cool.
handy. It's sorted me out.
Unlearned
Not a pussy
behavior.
anymore.
Nice one. Well done. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's in that sense that was like nice. And yeah, I remember I came backstage afterwards and she was like, yeah, really good. Gail was really happy because she was my producer. She was like, yeah, really good. Happy days. Really good stuff.
Cool.
And then I looked where the monitor was backstage and Jordan was stood there with Tommy Dreamer and Speedball Mike Bigley. And he was like, go speak to them. They both watched the match. And Tommy Dreamer was really impressed.
Mm.
He was really nice. Basically said he's gonna steal my move, which was cool. It was like the feet on the ropes, like Randy Orton backbreaker. He's
Oh,
like,
that was cool. You got a replay out of that as well,
that is
which is
all
very
credit
cool.
to like Eddie Ryan because I did
Okay.
like a session with him and I was like, I want something new, like unique to do that people don't do very often. And he's like,
Yeah.
why don't you do this? And then we did something, and then he's like, oh, actually, don't do that, do this. I've never seen this before.
Yeah,
And we came up with that together. But like that's all props to him. He's got a great mind for wrestling. So
that's
thank you,
cool.
Eddie Ryan. You gave me a cool move that Tommy Dreamer liked.
There you
Boom.
go. Now that's cool. And I was watching the match back earlier on this afternoon as a refresher as well, and
Ah,
that move got quite a reaction.
yeah, I think
Um,
because people just don't really see like
they
a Randy Orton
exact
backbreaker. I don't know what's called. I just know it's a Randy Orton backbreaker.
yeah
But like I think because no one's seen it like on the ropes before,
yeah
like it was quite cool. So
yeah.
I was quite happy with that.
That's cool.
But yeah, like to be fair, I was happy with the match in general. Like it's a nice quick little thing.
Yeah.
Everything went well. And
Mm.
then Speedball gave me like loads of feedback towards like TV stuff. Like I didn't know that like the camera guys, they kind of switch cameras every like 4 to 5 seconds. So he was
Right.
like, just kind of focus on one for like 4 seconds so that they can
Right.
get like a good like money shot sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, I would never know that because I've never been on TV. So that was
Ah,
really nice to know that like they normally count to like 4 or 5 seconds. And I've noticed it now watching TV.
that's cool, isn't
Like
it?
when
Because
I watch like NXT and stuff, I'll be like, oh, 4 seconds,
you can
yep.
see it.
4 seconds, yep. Switch, 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 switch. I'm
Always
like, oh well,
lovely.
that's handy to know because like now I think about that stuff in my normal matches anyway. Like if I see someone like on the ringside filming, I'll
Yeah.
be like, right, well, I'm going to focus on you for like 4 seconds, and then I'll carry on.
Mm.
So it's quite nice in that sense. Like just feedback from two people that like that know what they're doing has really
That's
helped
it.
me, like in general now. So like if I was to go back, I know that to focus on that camera for like 4 seconds, and
Yeah.
even like I will like there's other things that Tommy Dreamer told me, but I just can't really give it away
Okay, that's fine.
because
Yeah.
otherwise, it's like killing the biz. Oh, sorry guys.
No, no, don't worry. It's fine.
What?
That's fine.
But yeah, like literally everyone was really happy. Everyone was really nice, and honestly, I think I had a really long happy cry on the way home.
Oh, bless you.
But it was really sweet because like I think Toby was outside still, just making sure no one like snuck in because I was
Yeah.
on pretty early on that taping.
Mm.
Jordan watched, and I believe Ruby was in the crowd. And I remember she came up to me, she's like, "Oh my god, that was fucking sick!" And she was cheering me on. I was like, I would have done the exact same thing for her if
Yeah.
they watched her match first. And I hope if when we go back that she gets a chance to do the same thing
Yeah.
because she is fucking great. And I just think it's a shame that she doesn't get like the same sort of opportunities just because she's still down in that southwest area.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
like I want her to get the same thing because she's just as good,
Yeah.
like 100%. So she'd be sick. And plus, she's a cheerleader, man. Everyone loves a cheerleader. She can
Absolutely.
do some really cool stuff that I can't do at all.
That's cool. That is a cool gimmick to have. Absolutely. Am I right in thinking you got your first title win out there as well? Did I
Got my
see that?
first nice title win.
First nice title win. Yeah,
I've
okay.
had
Right.
some, I've
We'll
had
go
some
that
other
way.
ones, but they're not very good.
That's fine. But yeah, so you got a title win out there,
Yes,
another title win out there,
yes, it was, it
which
was
is really cool.
it was nice, but I think like the guy that booked it, sweet, love him to pieces. He's been really helpful with us trying to get back over there, sort bees out and stuff.
Mm.
And like he was like, I've literally made a woman's belt just for you and Ruby. Like you guys,
Wow.
he's like I never book women because in America they're hard anyway, and they
Yeah.
like they're all kind of dotted around. There's no like anyone close together.
Mm.
He's like, so I brought it for you guys, and I will book women for you guys to wrestle. So I was
That's
like,
cool.
that's really nice. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Wow.
So we were very appreciative. Like literally, and they run every other weekend, so there was a lot of work that he gave us.
Mm.
So that was really nice of him. And when it came, it was massive.
It's quite sizable. Yeah.
I'm quite small anyway, like in the sense like my torso is quite short.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the whole thing literally covered my entire torso. So I was like, this should go on Instagram just because it's a massive belt and I
Absolutely.
want this.
Yeah.
But it was like white. It was like kind of like the old design of like the old NXT UK women's
Oh,
belt,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
like the
okay.
plate in the middle was like purple. There's
Hmm.
like white belt, purple in the middle, really
Nice.
pretty. Loved
Yeah.
it. And yeah, I was very happy. I lost
And
it too
and
rudely,
I've got to
so it was
say,
good.
attractive title belts seem to be a bit of a rarity these days, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
So
like I mean, like the ones I had before this were not pretty. They don't make the cut very often. They were quite
you don't
ugly
think so.
belts. Like, thank you for the belt. That's lovely. Probably won't post it very often.
Oh, bless. But that one, proud of that
That
one.
one was
That's good.
pretty. That one got on the gram.
That's
That
cool. That's
was a
cool.
lovely belt.
So you come back after the second one, obviously, with that experience, addition. Did you do if I'm right in thinking, I might be wrong. First time you went out there, it was mostly training, and then the second time out there, it was a lot more being booked and performing.
Yeah.
So you
So,
come, oh, go on.
oh sorry, yeah. So first time, yeah, we paid to do the 12-week plan with Dr. Tom. Second time, we still went to train with Dr. Tom. We did his
Mm,
advanced classes, and then we'd help out with his beginners class as well because he had hurt
okay.
his shoulder and he had an operation. So we helped demonstrate things for him because
Okay.
we were unemployed and doing nothing in America. So what else to do?
Soak up all the
Um,
experience you can.
just
Absolutely.
might as well just have loads of fun at training
Yeah,
with Dr. Tom.
absolutely.
So we did that, but yeah, it was like we were busy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Hmm.
especially like in that first week we were there. We went in September. We went end of August.
Wow.
And like at that point, they have loads of like county fairs and stuff because everyone's off school because they don't go
Oh
back
yeah.
to school until like the end of September.
Okay.
So that whole like first month we were there was really nice and busy because there was loads of like weekday shows, which was
Mm,
nice. But then yeah, after that it was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, busy. And
mm,
then we got to the point where like we were busy every Saturday, guaranteed for the whole of the 3 months we were there.
that's
And
good.
then almost every weekend was jam packed. So we were
Nice.
busy, but it was nice. Like
Yeah.
it was nice knowing that you've got like a really fun weekend ahead. But
Yeah.
like that second trip, it felt longer in a sense because we were so busy, but
Mm,
it was really nice.
good. That's what you want because you feel like you've taken that extra step between,
Yeah.
visits out there. So when you came back after that second one, what was the difference you noted in yourself, either personally, if we can get quite deep in that, but personally, but also in your wrestling career, what was the difference, or the biggest glaring difference that what you came back with?
Um, there's no like big dramatic difference. I think everyone thought I was gonna be a certain way after the TNA thing. I think everyone
Mm,
thought I'd kind of be like a bit on my high horse, but I kind of
hmm.
wasn't. Like it was quite humbling coming back to Dorset.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't back in Wales. I was back in the middle of literally live in a town that's got nothing nearby.
Mm,
So it's like I'm kind of back to my own little world. So it was quite humbling in that sense, where it's like, oh, I've just done the coolest thing in my life, and now I'm back to like square one in a sense where it's kind of like Plymouth, where it's so far away from everything.
yeah.
But like, I was still getting booked. I'm still busy now. It was just like weird to readjust and be like,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, I don't live in Wales anymore. I live here, and they'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, no worries. But it's harder in a sense where I have to get like the train for most bookings now, which is
Okay.
fine. I have a rail car, cheaper
There you
travel.
go.
But it's like longer days because it's taking
Yeah.
me like 5 hours to get home. And even then, I gotta get a train to like the nearest town and then get the last bus back, which is like 30 minutes to my town, and
You
then
do
walk home.
you do realize that what you are doing with all of this is when you get to a certain point later on in life and you get to write your book. These are the kind of stories that I absolutely love reading in guys, who I've read about, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. These are the kind of root stories that they have. And
Yeah,
you've been able to live that on both sides, over here and in America.
100%.
That's
I
got to
think
be.
as well, like if you ever get signed and stuff, like it is a lot of travel. And
Mm,
like I don't mind the travel part because I'm like a big reader anyway, hence why I
mm.
stole my name from a book. But like it kills the time a lot. But like I think it's just so strange going from like being in the car with like the four of us that go to America
Yeah,
together to them kind of being like separated. Like I'll
yeah,
still see them at certain shows, but like we're not together anymore, and that's weird.
yeah,
Because like even when
yeah.
we lived in Wales, they would stay at ours if we were wrestling in Wales. So
Okay.
we were always kind of like at shows together most weekends. And obviously Toby and Jordan still see each other all the time because they wrestle together, their tag.
Yeah.
So it's like I see him more than anyone, to be honest.
Mm.
But like I think it's so strange, like having like to readjust and not being one of the Brits and being in like that
Yeah.
group before. And well, and five the second time around we had Carl Parker. But
Mm.
it was so strange, I think, coming back and the nearest wrestlers to us are Nathan Angel and Harley Hudson, which is
Okay.
great. They're lovely. But
Mm.
it's so weird that like I've had a complete flip
Yeah.
and now that's where I am.
And that's really but yeah, you mentioned a hint there about another trip back out there. Is that something that's planned or something in the pipeline or
So
anything?
we're wanting to do, yeah. So we're
Okay.
currently talking to people trying to get like proper visas sorted out so that we can stay there for longer than 3 months.
Okay.
Because that is the goal. We wanna I think as well, like if we were out there for a longer period of time, more opportunities would come up. But I think
Yeah.
because we were only there for like a guaranteed of 3 months before we had to go home, it was hard. Like they love storylines in America,
Yeah, sure.
so it's like it's hard to slot you in to like a bigger picture when
Yeah.
there's no guarantee you're going to be here, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And it's like we've got people messaging us saying like, "When are you back? When are you back?"
Ah,
And
that's
like
cool.
some guy like that's absolutely lush was like, "These are all my dates for the year. Let me know which ones you can do." And we're like, "I don't know."
But that's good. That's almost like you would always have a reason to go back out there,
It's
but
nice
you
to
now
feel
have
wanted.
yeah, you've got a plan. Once you get out there, you've got people who will give you that work and give you those
Yeah.
opportunities.
I think
Um,
as well, like there's so much more like quality, like and there's the wrong one. There's a lot of quantity of wrestling in
yeah,
America because the country's so big, and
yeah,
because like wrestling is more like viewed by like an American audience in that sense, where like because they're more outgoing, they love this sort of like dramatic thing.
yeah,
I think whereas like in the UK, like until recently with it being on Netflix, wrestling was very like taboo, like, oh, why'd you like that? That's for kids,
yeah,
sort of thing. People would like get picked on for like liking wrestling.
yeah,
So I think it's very like different in a sense here, where it's like there's not a lot of shows because it's still not like a massive thing in the UK. Like it's
no,
great in the UK, like, the wrestling is great,
mm,
but I think there's just not a lot of shows that people are wanting to go to because
yeah,
there's just not a big platform for it yet.
yeah,
And I think because there's no like WWE in the UK, that makes
yeah,
sense. Like you have Rev Pro and Progress who are like close, like they're very
mm,
big platforms. But I think because they're not like a big televised event that people are like getting opportunities to get on,
yeah.
it's not like a big worldwide audience on the UK, that makes sense.
We did have it for a limited time, didn't we, with
Yeah, like
WWE
when it was on the
UK?
network, it was quite a big surge, and I think
Yeah,
it died down. And now that it's on Netflix, there's a big surge of wrestling fans again.
hmm
Because like I've noticed as well, like going to shows, they seem to be more like sold out and more filled out with people that are just going to the shows for the first time ever. Like they've never seen
yeah,
live wrestling before, just
yeah,
because they've seen it on Netflix, which is really cool. Like
yeah,
it's cool that people are starting to watch it again.
yeah.
Like there's a chef I work with at like at work. I work with at work. Huh. And he was like, "Yeah, I've not watched it in years. I just didn't have any access to it because he didn't want to like pay for the network, didn't know the network existed.
Yes,
So like having it just being there on Netflix, he started watching it again with his kids, and it's like that's really cool that like
and I'm
you're
exactly the
interested
same.
again.
Yeah, I did that, and I had the network for a bit of a time, but I felt really guilty that I was paying £10 a month for it
Yeah.
when I
Well,
had
I
many
nick my
many other
brothers.
things. Fair enough. Um,
Thanks,
but
bro.
I have I've been able to fully embrace me like yes, okay, I don't watch the new stuff, but I now have access to all the old stuff that
Yeah,
I didn't want to pay extra for because I've got it, and it's almost like these dormant fans like myself, I
yeah.
suppose, have come back to life. You've
It's
got
cool as
passive
well.
fans as well.
Because you can show people what you watched when you were a kid. Like you can
Yeah.
go back to like your favorite era of wrestling, and be like, "This is what I'm talking about. This was wrestling when I watched it,"
Yeah.
and then they can like enjoy the new product together if they want
Mm.
to, sort of thing. And it's cool that like they're doing more like traveling stuff with like doing pay-per-views across, and especially in Europe and that like it's
Yeah.
getting like a big surge. 'Cause even American fans are realizing that crowds in like Europe are way better.
Mm.
They
Yeah, yeah,
interact
yeah.
more. I think because like I think schools here are very different in the sense where like we all kind of sing together and
That's a
it's
good
all
point.
very
Yeah.
communal, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah,
like I think
yeah.
like chants of football and like wrestling everything, we're all kind of
Mm.
in unison in that sort of sense where like we've kind of grown up
Mm.
doing things together, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you say good morning, miss, or whatever, together.
Yeah.
And all those silly little
I've
things that kind of
never
add up in like your adulthood for like
I've
this sort of thing.
never thought about that. I was talking to Chris Bronson last week, and we were talking about the same
I love
thing.
Chris Bronson.
He's great, isn't he? And we were talking about like the crowds, the differences between the crowds, and I was like, you hear the football type chants in the crowds over here. It doesn't sound the same in America, but
Yeah, it
they are
doesn't quite
doing it.
fit.
They are doing it. So it's like I feel like that's our influence as
It's
well over
rubbed
there.
off them in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's even like sense of like venues and stuff. Like in the UK, like naturally venues are quite smaller because the country's a lot smaller. You're
Mm,
not having to pack a lot of people in because your town
yeah.
only has like a certain population.
Mm,
Whereas like each town in America has some big hall or something, or like
yeah.
you go to their high school, that's a popular venue for like wrestling shows, and
Mm,
they've got like bleachers and stuff. You can get like 2,000
yeah.
people in a venue, and it's like
That's
that
insane.
doesn't really exist in a lot of places in the UK. Like
No.
you've got a few like the shows that like Red Pro and Progress do, where that they have like their big show like once or twice a year, and
Mm,
that's like 2,000 people,
yeah.
or however I don't know the specifics. It might be more, might be less,
Yeah.
and like that's considered like the WrestleMania for the UK
Yeah.
in that sort of sense. Whereas because there's no like big thing to like just casually go to the town hall and this
No.
packed with 2,000 people. Like, it doesn't happen here.
It's not
Whereas
gonna
like
happen.
that's a normal like Saturday show in America.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
But being able to have experienced that for yourself as well has got to be kind of rubbing off in a good way in
Yeah.
your experience over here. Your expectations probably are quite different than they were
I
previously.
think at first it was so weird going from like a big like sports hall sort of thing packed
Mm,
to like a normal town hall with
yeah.
like floor seats.
Yeah.
It was like weird adjusting back to that in the sense where like I haven't got to yell as loud to like fill a room.
Oh, so yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was nice. Like, my voice wasn't going every day, but like it was like it's good to have still like knowing that I can do that if needed.
Yeah.
But like kind of like picking and choosing how much to do for each place. Like always give your best because you never
Yeah.
know who's watching. And it's like it was just a strange thing to come back to like normal like normalcy. Like this
Yeah.
is what I'm used to, but like I just had the coolest
Yeah.
summer of my life.
It does change. It must change you, in terms of your
Yeah,
outlook on it and what you want for yourself as well, you know.
100%.
Yeah. Speaking of which, nice segue into to finish off a couple of kind of like fantasy questions, I suppose. Um, so bucket list items. I think I've asked a couple of people this recently. Wrestling bucket list items. Obviously, a big tick. You must have ticked one off of that with your TNA
Yeah,
appearance. Um,
100%.
what others are on there? If you had sort of a short list of things you wanted to achieve in your career.
I would love to wrestle in Japan one day.
Hmm.
That's like the women in Japan are just like a whole nother level. They're
Yeah.
just up here, man. Like they're sick, and like they're just always go. So I would
Mm.
love to have a chance to do that. Um, Back at this. This is a silly one, but I would love to do like some sort of hardcore match, like if it's a street fight or like
Okay.
a TLC match, like just once, but like for it to make sense, not like a throwaway,
Yeah. Okay.
but like
Yeah.
something for it to build to like that sort of thing. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Um, go back to TNA if I could get asked to go
Yeah.
back. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Bucket list. I've got loads, but like they're all like the generic ones, like
That's
wrestling
cool.
for
No, that's some pretty big ones
WWE,
on there.
like that sort of thing.
So if you had a pick then of not putting you on the spot and saying which promotions you want to work for now, in your eyes, is there a promotion out there anywhere in the world where you feel Rhiannon Jade belongs? You may have already answered this.
Um, I would just generally say like either TNA or like NXT.
Hmm.
I really like what they're doing with both women's divisions in those places, and I feel like out of everywhere that I've watched, that'd be somewhere that I would want to wrestle. Like, yeah,
And if the
those
partnership
those are the
carries
two
on,
products that I watch weekly. Like, I watch TNA and I watch TNA Explosion on YouTube, and
okay,
I watch NXT each week on Netflix. So it's like those are the products that I currently watch because I
yeah,
enjoy them. So those would be the places that I would want to wrestle if I had the choice. I wouldn't say no
yeah,
to anywhere. Like I'd be
no, of
happy if I
course,
got
yeah,
anything. But it's like if I had the choice and they said you have free range to pick wherever you want to go, I would pick one of those two just because they're the products I enjoy the most.
mm, that's cool. And then obviously with the partnership they got going on at the moment, if
I
you're the
do a bit
best,
of both.
you could do a bit of both.
You do
The
that.
opportunity for both. But it obviously shows that there's similar audiences there. I mean, you get people who watch all of it. I get that, but what they're doing must be. I don't watch either, I will say, but what they're doing must be really quite similar and gel
Yeah.
really well for them to do that. So
It's a lot of like fast-paced sort of matches, and I
mm,
quite like that where it's like a bit more intense to like get it done, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Like I don't know, I've not really watched AEW in quite a while. I don't think the product's terrible. I just
mm,
don't watch it that often.
yeah,
I will watch a certain match here and there if it intrigues me and I want to watch it. And like Raw and SmackDown, I like. Nothing
mm,
wrong with them. I just like at the minute I'm more intrigued with like the newer talent, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
ones you haven't seen as much. Like
yes,
I could watch Raw and watch people I've watched my whole life, and that's fine. I still enjoy it. There's no bad matches there.
mm,
But I think I like watching people that I've never seen before. Like I like watching NXT because I've never seen these people, or
yeah,
I have seen them in the sense where it's like, oh, I've watched Jordan Grace on TNA. I want to see what she
yeah,
does in NXT. Sort of thing. Like I'm tuning in to see what she does.
yeah. It, I, what I will say for wrestling fans these days is you've got a choice.
There's so much choice.
There is a lot of back and forth, and a lot of fans have fights about which one's better and everything. But I'm like taking a step back. When I was growing up, realistically, we only had one we could watch over here of any kind of regularity until a certain point when Nitro
Yeah,
got broadcast over here. But now you can tune into, WWE have got effectively three brands. You got
yeah,
AEW, you got TNA, you got NWA, which is the one that if any of them, I would probably favor because it's harking back to what I love.
yeah.
They're all available, but they're
Literally.
different. So you've got, you pick and choose whichever style suits you best.
Yeah,
And if you can watch all of them, brilliant. But you're
yeah.
not.
Literally, like you got so much more content to watch, and like
Mm,
it's so much more easier like access than it was once when we were all growing up. Like
yeah,
I used to watch Raw on a Sunday afternoon on the reruns at my dad's house, and that was it.
no,
And
yeah,
like we'd watch TNA on the reruns. I could never watch anything live because obviously it'd be like 2 a.m. in the morning.
yeah,
So it's like I'd watch it all on like a Sunday at my dad's house, watch it with my brother, and that would be like our fix of wrestling would be on that once a week. Other
mm,
than like certain DVDs we had, like you couldn't just go on YouTube or anything and just watch a match or
no,
like search up someone a certain wrestler and watch their stuff. It just didn't exist. So I
mm,
think now like having all this content that you can watch all these promotions like so easily.
mm,
I wouldn't complain if I was a new fan. I'd be like, this
no,
is cool. I don't care if I have a preference. I
yeah.
wouldn't talk bad on the other one just because it's not my favorite.
No, just
Like,
pick a lane, whichever
mm,
one is your favorite, and
like
off you go.
I
And
don't dislike any of the promotions. Like I've watched NWA, I've
mm.
watched like stuff on CMLL. I can talk
Oh
fast,
yeah,
talking too
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
Like I enjoy all different things. So it's
Mm.
like if I wanted to, I can watch those things. But it's like I'm not gonna get my way to watch it every day.
yeah.
But I could if I wanted to. So
Mm.
it's cool to like to know that you have that sort of thing.
Yeah. Final question then, and sadly I will have to bring it to a close. But this has been so much fun. Thank you again. Before we launch into this, this has
No,
been
thank you.
amazing. Um, bit of fantasy booking. So a bit of a cliche one, really. Your dream opponent. I may have asked this before in the sense of I may have said, WrestleMania moment. Who would you face? Um, your dream opponent, but pick one home based, someone that you would want to wrestle on the British scene, whether you've faced them before or not, doesn't matter. And if you had a shot over in America, anyone you could while you were over there.
Hmm. In the UK, I would love to wrestle Nina Samuels. I've never wrestled her before, and I think she's one of the best in the UK, like
Mhm.
100%. Like men and women, I think she's amazing. I would love to wrestle her at some point. Um, and then in America.
Bit of a bigger field out there to choose from, maybe. But
Hmm. Probably like Stephanie Vacquer. Like I
okay.
really like her. I think she's really cool and like it's cool seeing her on NXT, seeing
Mm,
her like become really popular because I
yeah.
think she's like one of the best ones they have in NXT at the minute. So I'd probably say her.
Cool.
But there's loads. I would
Oh
have to
yeah.
say Kenzie and Carly Page from NWA again. I wrestled them before and they were great.
Put
Like
you on the
there's
spot
so
there.
many in America. There's so many options.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. This couple of minutes just to finish off. I'll give you the floor. Where can people find you, your socials?
Oh, I've got to remember them.
Sorry, any appearances you've got coming up that you can tell us about that you want to promote? This goes out in a couple of days on Friday, so it's quite current.
Sweet.
So yeah, the
Um,
floor is yours.
Sunday, I am at VCW in Newbridge. So Sunday the 13th, where I am wrestling Carla. I don't know if it's Nemes or Nemes. Could be very wrong. If I butcher that, I'm very, very sorry. Yeah, that'll be fun. Come watch the show. And then what date is it? What we're in April. I don't remember what I have the week after that. I look at the week I'm on right now. Sorry if I'm a terrible booker right now.
You go where you're told to go. That's fine.
I just kind of look at what I'm doing each week and like, right, I'm here this weekend. I'm here this weekend, and I'm here that weekend.
Tell you what,
All on
direct
that
people.
week.
People can find you on your socials. They'll find
Yeah,
everything. There you
look
go.
on my Instagram, which I think is Rhiannon Jade PW. I could be very
Of course, you
wrong.
probably got quite used to saying your other one,
I
didn't you?
know, I don't remember it. I recently changed it. So
Tell you what,
could be very wrong.
I'll put your
Facebook
link.
it's
I'll get
Rhiannon Jade.
that. There'll be if you're watching video on YouTube or Spotify.
Somewhere here.
The
Wherever
links
it
will be
is.
down below if I don't put them up on screen. So there you go. They'll be on there. So Rhiannon, this has been a blast, like I thought it would. Thank you so much for your time again for coming back on. It's so good to see all the success that you've had, and all the best for whatever success lies ahead. And
Thank you.
hopefully we'll have you back on again sooner than 4 years.
Another 4 years, no
Yeah,
doubt.
well, we can do that. We'll see.
Hopefully less than 4 years. We'll be
Hopefully.
all right.
Take it easy.
Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to like, share, and hit the subscribe button. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Once Upon a Turnbuckle to keep updated about all future shows.